Yes, it is working. So, all right. So now we're live on Facebook. We are also live on YouTube. So hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. It's Tuesday. I know people are not used to me doing a show on Tuesdays. This is new for me because I only did shows once a week on Thursdays. But because I had so many requests for people to come onto the show, I had to do it now twice a week, which is perfectly fine with me because I get to meet more interesting people. So, like Wendy here. So, hello, Ashley, one of my sisters. Welcome. So I know there's going to be a couple more people coming on. So I'll just wait for them. So, but anyways, yeah. Thanks for being here, Wendy.
I'm excited to be here. Hi, Sister Ashley.
So as a reminder, I know that when people comment, if I don't get to your question right away, don't worry because Wendy here can still see the chat room. She can see your questions. So don't worry. Ask away. We will get to your questions. Hello to my nephew, Alex. Hello. Thanks for watching with your mom. So, yeah. So anyways, I wanted to have you on because the book sounded very interesting. At first I thought it was just about like ancestors or finding people. So I wanted to have you on to explain to me what it is you actually do besides writing the book. Because there's more, you're not just an author, there's other parts to it. So can you explain that to me?
Yeah, so I'm actually, first and foremost, I'm a genealogist. And I'm a professional with 2 graduate degrees in genealogy and documentary sciences. One of them is from the University of London. And I chose that program because the Brits are beasts when it comes to genealogy because of the feudal system. So they are very good at tracing ancestors. And I wanted to learn to do it the way they do it, especially because I have a lot of British Isles ancestry in my own family. So I decided to become a professional genealogist in, I think it was about 2012. I was halfway through my master's degree in marriage and family therapy. So I was on a very different path, but I was constantly spending a lot of my time researching my family, and it had become such a passion that I started to look around for graduate degrees in genealogy. And at this same time, we had a life-changing experience in my family, which was we found my husband's biological grandmother's family. So my husband's father was adopted, and we found his father's biological family, and they embraced us with open arms, and my husband's father was able to meet his 6 living siblings 2 years before he died. And before that, he had been an only child, adopted. He never had any siblings. And his adopted parents died when he was a teenager. So he was alone for a long time. And all of a sudden, he has all this biological family. And it was such an incredible experience that I decided that I wanted to become a genetic genealogist and help adoptees find their biological families. So that is my niche and work, and those are my clients.
Awesome. Awesome. The other reason why I had to have you on is because it's funny, because I watch a lot of YouTube, and what I've noticed I've been watching is there's a British show. I don't know if it's on anymore, but I wish I knew the name of it. It escapes me, but it's where the family elicits the help of, I believe it's a woman and a guy. They go around and they find the family, and then they try to put them together. And I've watched so many episodes.
Is it Who You Think You Are?
No, I've seen that show. I do like that show. This one, I'm going to have to look it up, and I will definitely let you know what it is. But there's like 8 seasons of it, and I wish I could know the name of it. But anyways, yeah, it's just very interesting and happy and rewarding at the end result of someone meeting their family that they knew absolutely nothing about. It's amazing. It really is. So yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I want to talk to you. But out of this comes a book.
Yes. So I had researched one of my ancestors so extensively, and this research started with my mother, and she found this 200-year-old letter collection that was written by my third great grandfather to his son, who had crossed the Atlantic by himself as a teenager to try to find a way to save his family. And the letters were full of such a wealth of knowledge for the period of 1817 to 1832. So that was pre-famine era in Ireland. Mm-hmm. But still, the people were suffering so much because of the aftermath of the Irish Rebellion at the end of the 1700s. And the English were coming down really hard on the Irish. So they were leaving the country in droves, or they were starving, or they were dying of typhus fever. So that was the state of the country during this letter collection. And so I extensively researched this young man, this kid, this Irish kid, and tracked his path in the United States and researched everything that he became in the United States. And he and his family were such a stellar bunch, and they became very politically active. And this young man became one of the wealthiest men in antebellum era America. And I had to write his story because they did so much good. And they were abolitionists long before the Civil War. And so it was almost like I couldn't not write their story, but I wanted to write it in a particular way to affect a large audience. So I wrote it through the eyes of a teenager because of the study Emory University released on teenagers and kids knowing their family history. And they did this study on kids, and it was based on 20 questions. And the results of this study were, and I'm going to read this word for word, is that children and adolescents who know more of their family stories show higher well-being on multiple measures, including higher self-esteem, higher academic competence, higher social competence, and fewer behavioral problems. So there is really something to knowing where you come from, knowing your roots. It adds to your character and your identity, almost like nothing else can.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I own it. I have to read it. Oh yeah. So that's very interesting. So I guess, did you want to write a book? I mean, did this at all cross your mind?
I always knew I would write. So I was an academic writer and then a professional writer. And I had actually an award-winning writer for my field, certain articles. So I like to write, and I knew I wanted to write. And I come from a family of storytellers. And so people had always told me that I was a great storyteller, which is different than being a great writer, but it can definitely transform into that. So if there are any aspiring writers listening, if you like to tell stories, you just might be a great writer. Something to explore.
I have heard that many of times. I've had a lot of authors on, and I've heard that. So it's good to know. Wow. So how long did it take you to do because you said, this is a real person.
Yes.
So how long did it take you to do all of the research so then you could then write the book?
Well, I was in
start to finish.
Okay, so the research that went into this book started really decades ago, but I went to Ireland in 2013, and that is where I experienced the places that this young man lived, found records of his family, found out he had 5 siblings that died as children and infants, and came to understand my Irish roots at a very deep level, to where I felt like I actually could do their story justice. And telling the truth historically at a level as high as possible is really important to me, because I am a genealogist, and everything I write and research is based on fact. So this young man's story in the book, which is the historical chapters, and then there's a present day timeline that weaves into it, it's about 75% truth. So I had to fill in the gaps to piece together all of his life story, and I just wanted it to be as true as possible, and to honor him and his family the very best that I could. So it took 3 years from the time I started writing to the time a publisher accepted my manuscript, and a publisher I actually wanted, which was Ambassador International. And then it took a year after the manuscript was accepted for the book to release, because in the publishing world, depending on genre, there's a certain time of the year that each genre is released, and that is across the board for publishers. So that's why it took another year for my book to release.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any plans on more?
Yeah, so this book is a trilogy.
Okay.
And the second book goes back in time to when this young Irish kid left Ireland. It goes back in time to tell the story of what happened to his family for the 16 years it took for him to bring them to America. So it was their 16 years of suffering, and the story is told through the eyes of his younger sister, Eliza, because the letters say that she was his favorite, and it was the most difficult for her to see him go. So it's her story. I'm writing that right now, and I am so excited about this second book, because in the present day timeline, we have teenager Beth, who is a fictional descendant of the real family of the Hamiltons. And in the second book, we get into DNA, and it comes into play in a really important way in the research that Beth continues on this family. And it's a really fun book in a lot of ways. There's a lot of interest in the present day timeline and the true story of Alan and finding his wife, Emery, in the historical chapters. So it's a fun book. There's romance. There's a lot of mystery. And then there's also a lot of grief to overcome in both the timelines. There was a lot of grief that the Hamilton family experienced in Ireland and America. And then in the fictional characters timeline, she is trying to overcome her grief of the death of a loved one. And she's 15, and she does not know how to process it. And it is her journey learning how to move through the grief process and coming out on top at the end.
All right. So I know what I'm going to read next after this one. So, and it's a trilogy, which means 3, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
yeah.
3, wow. So why 3?
Because there's really 3 parts to the story. So the third book, the present day character Beth, she actually goes to Ireland, and she experiences her family's history there. And she is able to also solve the mystery of the brick wall where this family line stops, where she didn't have any other information on the parents and grandparents. And she is able to discover the lines that go back even further. And so readers will get to go on this adventure with her in Ireland. That's the third book.
Oh. Oh boy. So obviously, Once Upon an Irish Summer is already available.
Yes.
And people can buy it. Where can people buy it?
You can buy it at barnesandnoble.com. You can buy it on Amazon. You can buy it anywhere books are sold. And it has been a #1 bestseller in several different genres on Amazon, which has been really exciting.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Yes, I believe that I have already put the link to the Amazon on the Facebook page, so people should be able to see that. And of course, the book will probably end up on the website as well, so people can click on. They put every author's books on the website, and all you have to do is just click the cover, and it will immediately bring you to wherever it's being sold. Is another easy way for my viewers here to purchase the book. If anyone has any questions for Wendy at all, ask away, please. I know there's a delay, so.
Well, Brian, let me ask you.
Yes.
You have an Irish name. Do you have Irish roots?
I have an Irish name.
Brian. Yes.
Oh, yes. That, and you can't really tell, but this was red at one point.
And you have blue eyes too?
I'm sorry?
You have blue eyes?
I do.
So red hair and blue eyes, that's about as Irish as you can get.
I know that I'm very, I know that I'm Irish. I have to be. My father, unfortunately, had a French last name, so I'm kind of. But anyways, I've been thinking about taking one of those tests.
Oh, do it.
You know,
so
but I don't know which one. Do I do Ancestry.com? But I don't know if I have all the information to build like the family tree. I know you can just buy the test.
Yes.
But I think I would want to play around with the family tree and learn more or something, because you see the commercials, the little leaf, there's information there, and then meeting someone. So, but I know I'm Irish. I'm pretty sure something else. I do want to go there. I've never been there. So it would be nice to learn, if there was ancestors there and to learn about them. So,
well, can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
So I would test with Ancestry DNA.
Okay.
They have the largest database by far. I think they have 18 million people now in their database, which means that you are going to get so many cousin connections. And those cousins are already going to have built family trees that you're going to link right into and be able to find out so much about your ancestors just like that.
So and that was the other thing, because I know that there's different types of tests, like the ones for the health, or family-wise. Yeah. I would like the DNA one where it actually will link you up with someone, So I think that would be interesting. So that's what that does.
Yes, Ancestry does that. 23andMe does that too. And 23andMe is where you're going to get really sound health reports. But it's much less on the genealogy side, and their database isn't that big, so you're not going to get as many cousin connections. But Ancestry DNA is working on their health reports, so they are, as fast as they can, they're trying to catch up and compete with 23andMe. So that is something to keep in mind too. And you can test with all the databases like I have, and then you can collaborate your information. Get all your health reports from 23andMe. Get all your cousins from Ancestry DNA. Pull in some cousins from Family Tree DNA. That's another database. And then MyHeritage has a very fast growing database. You can test in all of them.
Interesting. Very well. I'm pretty sure I could have. Yeah, I didn't actually think of that. So yeah, that's very interesting. I'm just seeing people are talking here, so I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. So Daniel Payne is a fellow author, fantasy science fiction author. So welcome, Daniel. Any questions for Wendy? Let me know. That's the only thing about this is the delay with Facebook, so you have to wait. But anyways, that's very interesting. This is all very interesting. So I'm a sap when it comes to those shows. They finally meet, this long lost. I'm definitely going to have to get the name of that show, but I know it's on YouTube because that's where I've been watching.
Oh, it's on YouTube. Okay.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Don't you just love to watch the transformation in somebody's countenance from I'm so not sure about this, I'm really nervous about this, to seeing the face of their biological relatives and just to see that transformation? People just light up, and it fills a void in them that they've been longing for such a long time.
Yeah. And I think what gets me the most is that I don't know what it's like to go through that.
I don't either.
So I feel bad, and I feel good at the same time when they finally find someone. So, and of course, you're boohooing all over the place, and it's like, oh, but it's, like I said, it's rewarding to watch this happen. So I don't know what I would do if I take a test, then there could be somebody, out there, in another country or in the same country. I don't know, but I don't know what I would do, so.
Well, people start sending you messages as soon as your results show up. You'll just see a list of people, and you'll be at the top of that list. And some of those people will start sending you messages and saying, hey, let's figure out how we're connected. Or you'll notice people that, oh, that's my cousin, people you already know.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting. Let's see. I'm sorry, Dan. Dan is also an Ambassador International author. I forgot about that. I should have known that. Okay. Sorry about that, Dan. Jim, hello, Jim. Jim is in England. That's where he's watching from. So welcome. It's late there. It's 1:21 in the morning, I believe, there. And he says, hello, Wendy.
Hi, Jim.
And Jim, Dan asks, what kind of cultural studies did you do to get your book right?
So I bought every historical book that I could find on Ireland. And my favorite one was written by this woman that traveled to Ireland in before 1850. And she recorded everything she saw. She wanted to debunk what she was seeing, her fellow Americans, how they were treating the Irish. She wanted to debunk every myth, every prejudice that had been made up about them. And that's exactly what she did. She came home from Ireland saying, these are some of the most wonderful people I have ever met, even in their starving conditions. And everything that she recorded was very important to me, understanding that time period and the culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that people really knew back then exactly what they were going through. I really don't. So, if only people had known, I think. So, yeah. Good question, Dan. Good question. Do you plan on going back after all of this hoo-ha is over with and we can travel again?
Yes. Oh my goodness. I'm dying to go back because I need to solve one of the mysteries in this line that I'm writing about, what the fictional character will solve in the third book. So I need to get back over there to get this mystery taken care of so that the character can do that.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Do you plan on writing anything else that does not involve what you do? Any other genre, I should say.
I am in love with historical fiction. So right now I write YA crossover historical fiction, which is teenagers to 100.
Yep.
I love teenagers. I've been a youth leader for decades. Teenagers are just kind of my people, but there are also so many stories I want to write that may just be interesting to adults only. And I could write stories for centuries and never complete all of the ones that I've collected that are true.
History fiction is always a good genre. So a lot of people enjoy that as well. Yeah. So, yeah. I forgot. Hello to my grandmother as well. I told you, if I don't say hi to people. Yeah. Hello. Everyone's watching. Oh, boy. So, yeah. Well, like I said, it's all interesting. And of course you have given me things to think about. So now I really want to take that test now. I think, I was on the fence about it, like I said, I don't know what I would do if there was somebody out there that reached out to me. I don't know what I would do. So, but I guess there's only one way to find out.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you know what's really interesting is that you may get in touch with people, or they'll get in touch with you in ways that you never could have dreamed of. So, like for myself, my Scottish ancestors, I've only been able to trace records back to a certain extent to the cities that they came from before they immigrated to the US. But I had a fourth cousin show up in my cousin matches that lives in a city where my ancestors came from. So I have so many questions I can ask him, and it's possible that I can get him to go to the archives there for me and look some stuff up.
Right.
Doesn't already know. So just the connections you can make really all over the United States and some parts of Europe. Like France does not allow DNA tests. It's actually against the law there. So there are certain regions where you can't take a DNA test yet. But there's a lot of Europe that you can. So
that's very interesting that you can't take a DNA test.
Yeah. Wow. They would prefer that their family secrets stay family secrets, and that's the truth. So, yeah. Even in New York here, good old New York, it's against the law. So.
In New York as well?
Yeah.
Really? Well. Jeez, I won't be going there, yeah. All right. I didn't know that. It baffles me a little bit. All right. So I believe Jim is asking what a genealogist does in a nutshell. He was not here in the beginning of the show. I don't know if you want to answer that again.
Yeah, sure. So Jim, a genetic genealogist uses DNA results and traditional genealogical research records to build a family tree for someone. So when someone takes a DNA test, you are looking at all of their cousin matches, and then you are building a family tree for that person based on the relatives that you are in contact with and all the records that go along with their family. And then you build a tree out of it.
Daniel, how strict are you with the historical aspect of your fiction? I know a lot of historical movies and TVs are vastly unhistorical.
Yes, well, so because I am a professional genealogist, and sticking to facts is very, very, very important in my field. I do the very best I can to be as accurate historically as I can. And I also think it's important to do that because it gives all of us a better sense of what really went on before us and what people did to pave the way for us to have the lives that we do today. And it gives us a better understanding of ourselves if we try to be historically correct.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So why this family? Why did you choose this family?
I chose this family because I connected to them so deeply, because they were the family I researched the most and the deepest. And because of who this ancestor became, this kid that left Ireland went to America to make something of himself. He left behind 15 boxes of manuscripts called the Hamilton Papers. And then we have the letter collection. And then I found a 400-page master's thesis that was written on him in the 1940s, which was solely based on his frontier capitalism and how he made his fortune on the frontier, on the American frontier. So there was just so much information. And then the descendants of this man became three of his granddaughters became some of the most famous women in the United States of the time. One of them extensively researched Greek history and Greek mythology to the extent that she was the only American that has ever been named as an honorary citizen of Greece, ever, ever, ever. And her books are still used as textbooks in colleges today. And they're over 100 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So his legacy was fascinating.
It sounds it. Absolutely. Daniel asks, have you ever discovered something startling while doing a genealogical study?
Yes. Um, so I can share this because you'll have no idea who this person is. And so one of the most startling discoveries I ever made was working with a client who had an unknown father. So we were trying to establish the identity of her father through a DNA test and then searching records and building a tree on her paternal side. And we came into contact with someone on that side of the family who agreed to take a DNA test to see how closely he was related to her. And he ended up sharing 0 DNA with that family, which meant he had no idea that he was adopted. And this man was 70 years old, and he was blind from a suicide attempt decades earlier. And so we just made the call to not tell him of the discovery. We didn't feel like it was our place to do so. And he'd already been through enough trauma in his life. And so that was probably one of the most startling discoveries. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I don't think I would be able to do it. So I'd only want to give good news.
Yeah.
Not the bad news. So yeah. And it's just, and I'm going to remember that name of that show if it kills me. But, you know, when they finally, and I know they must be leaders in it. They, like you said, they know their stuff, because on the show, they show you how they, you know, find the people and what they have to do, and the road to, you know, either meeting someone or finding that they've been deceased. So there's a lot of that, and it's like, but, and then surprisingly, you have a half sister, so it kind of gets better. So it's just, it's never ending. So it's, but yeah, the bad news kind of.
Yeah. But, you know, we all have good and bad news in our family trees, and embracing all of it is really important, because we have no idea why people made the choices that they did. And we can't know that we would have made any better choices ourselves. So it's really about finding your ancestors, learning from them, and then honoring them, whatever their lives were about, and then standing on their shoulders to become someone even better, because I know that's what they want for us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have a friend who works in genealogy named Lori Thornton. She has authored some textbooks on this.
Oh, love it.
Interesting. Yeah, I've never talked to anyone. I've never had a guest about, you know, genetics and DNA and ancestors and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's very eye-opening. I could watch the show and get the information that way, you know, but to actually talk to somebody who actually does it is totally different. It's eye-opening. So,
well, your own family will become the grandest adventure you've ever been on. I'm serious. It becomes addicting, and what you find, especially if you travel to ancestral sites, you will not believe what you can feel in your bones. It's incredible. Yeah,
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. So I'm going to take the test, and we'll see. And I'll let you know. I'll email you. I'll let you know what happens. But
yeah, and if you need help just deciphering it, I am more than happy to tell you what you're looking at.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Yeah, I want to do it. I know pretty much of my family here, and I'm pretty sure my grandmother will, and aunts and uncles will tell me who's who, and to try to do a tree or whatever. I know it's time consuming. I've known someone who's gone back way back, and it just took them forever to keep adding names and possible dates of people. So you have to be really dedicated, and
yeah.
But that's someone who you really want to learn as much as possible. I think for me, it would be nice to know where exactly the ancestors are coming from. So, and to see if there's anyone out there. Is there anyone out there?
Oh, you'll have so many people out there. It will blow your mind. I have thousands of cousin matches, literally thousands of people that match me and my DNA.
Wow.
And so do you.
Oh, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. It would just be interesting to see how many and if there really is a connection somewhere, or if someone reaches out,
Oh yeah.
and that's going to be that moment where I don't know what to do. So yeah.
I'll just share this really quick. This morning I got an email that I've been waiting for years. Let's say probably 8 years. The book that I wrote, Once Upon an Irish Summer, is based on my ancestor, Alan Hamilton. Never have I connected with a descendant of his in all this time. I got an email this morning from someone that said, hey, I found your book while I was researching my great-great-great-grandfather, and I am the great-great-grandson of Alan Hamilton. And I totally freaked out, and I've been conversing with this cousin all day, and I found out he lives in the town next to my daughter in Texas. So the next time I go down there, I am going to meet this cousin, and he's going to read this book. He ordered it today, and the exciting thing for him was he had never found any information on his great-great-grandfather out of the United States. So he knew nothing about the Irish history that is included in this book. Wow. So the people that you can connect with, it will just change your life. It's so exciting.
Wow. Wow. Oh boy, this makes me excited. Just thinking about doing it. Oh goodness. Let's see. My grandfather spent years working out our family history. He went back about 600 years. Thus, I learned I am descended from the clan of Henry, which were called the Henry sons, which became Henderson. My mother's family are the Henderson family.
I love that.
Yeah, awesome.
And I'm from Clan Gun. So I'm a Wilson, and the Wilsons were part of Clan Gun. So hello, fellow Scotsmen.
Awesome. I hope there's a little Scottish where I come from. I hope so.
There probably is, because the between Ireland and Scotland is so narrow. There was crossover all the time.
That would be pretty cool if I have a relative living in Scotland. So, because I'd like to go there too. Those are my two top destinations.
Yes.
I'll take it over, and I talked to you earlier. I will take that over Disneyland. If you go to Disneyland or Scotland and Ireland, I'm going this way. Mickey can wait. So yeah, I really would like to go over there at some point. So yeah, that would be pretty awesome. So yeah, I think after the show, I'm just going to order it and just be done with it. So
okay, I can't wait.
On the fence. So yeah. Let's see, Jim. Oh, that's right, Jim. You are in England, so he's thinking Air Hunters. No, that is not the name of the show. If I saw the name of the show, I would definitely know what it is. I will have to let people know what it is. If you watch YouTube, if you have nothing else better to do than me, there's a show on YouTube. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I will make sure to let everyone know exactly what it is, which is pretty sad because I've seen 7 seasons of it and I don't know the name. But it's very interesting. I love that show. And then Who Do You Think You Are? I started watching that when it first came on. That was interesting because it was, well, I kind of know why they did it. It was all celebrities.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I would have liked to have seen normal, regular people trying to find, but it was still interesting to see. And I know you can still watch it on demand somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of started it. And then when I just happened to come across this show, so, and I'm a sap for those type of shows. So, yeah. So people check it out. But I will definitely let you guys know what it is because I think everyone should watch it. So, and I think I've told people before, I think that, I think everyone should take a test.
I do too, because at some point we all have common ancestors.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what race you are. I have just the tiniest percent of North African DNA. I wish I could trace my family back to that. And we're all one family. We do not need to define ourselves with race. We need to come together and not care. Who cares?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I wish more people didn't, because there's people out there that are alone. Their family is long gone. I'm the last one, when in reality you may not be the last one, and there's probably other family members out there that you just don't know about. So I think more people need to learn about it and do it. So yeah, just do it because I said so. So
there you go.
yeah. Jim is agreeing with you. Absolutely, Wendy. We are one people. So if anyone else has any questions for Wendy, let us know. Ask away. Hello to my other sister, Kayla. Welcome. Late, but you're here. So, yeah. Absolutely. So, what was it? Historical fiction.
Yes.
What exactly would you write about? Do you know what you would write about? An idea? I'm curious.
So Once Upon an Irish Summer itself is historical fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And after this trilogy, it's really just going to be what I decide to write. There's so many stories. There's stories about my Scottish ancestors and the conditions that they were living in after the English drove them out of the Highlands to the lowlands. They were forced to work in the mines there, and it was very dangerous. And I want to write about what was happening there before they left and immigrated to America, because that is fascinating history. So that's one that's kind of at the top of my list.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, that would be very interesting to read. Absolutely. People are having their own conversation over here. I have a tiny amount of Cherokee in me. I'm like 90% Scott, 9% Irish, 0.9% mystery, 9 mystery, and 0.01 Cherokee. So
Dan, do you know these percentages from a DNA test that you took?
It's a good question. Has anyone watching have taken a DNA test? I think I had a sister, one of my sisters. I have 5 sisters. I think one of them did take a DNA test. I'm not sure. I'll have to ask her. Either that or she was wanting to. I'm not sure. I'll have to ask her. So, yeah.
Okay, so I'm waiting to see if Dan is going to answer that question about his percentages.
I'm very interested to see how he got those as well.
Yeah.
So, Kayla, you wish you did. Well, it's never too late. You can always test.
Yeah.
Test.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Dan answered that question.
So no, this came from a long time studies of my grandfather. We have volumes of data he gathered on our people in the past, going back a long way. Okay. So
Okay.
Dan, I guess the question is would you want to take a DNA test? Does anyone want to take a DNA test to see if,
yes,
how far back?
You want to compare, especially when you have research that extensive in your family, which is amazing. Dan, you're so lucky. So take a DNA test to compare what a database says to your own records. And something to remember about the databases is that they will shift around a little bit, because as more and more people test, your DNA is being compared to theirs. So your ethnicity percentages will shift around a little bit. And each database that you test in with a different company, they are going to report those ethnicities in different ways. So they are not going to match up database to database. So that is also a really interesting comparison to make.
Okay. So speaking of this, I have a situation, and I was talking to my friend about it because I had two friends who took, I believe it's 123andMe.
23andMe, yeah.
23andMe. Okay. And their whole life, they were told by their family, you have Indian blood. We come from Indians, yada, 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 and she would wear, the whole family was into that turquoise jewelry, and, they were proud to be, Indian and stuff. And the look on her face when she brought it, I went to her house and she says, "Oh, I got the results. I'm going to read them now." I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "Well, this is very exciting." So she opens it and her jaw just dropped. There's no Indian anywhere. No percent, zero. It's not even on the paperwork.
Okay, so that scenario,
okay,
it could mean a couple of different things.
Yeah. Okay. Because my question is what do you tell? Like, I don't know what you would tell someone, to test again. Oh, very upset, very upset. I've been told my whole life, and it's like, I don't know what to do, So, right. I mean, what do you do if you've known something for so long? You take this test and it says, nope, you are not, Spanish. You are Mexican. I don't know, whatever. Something totally different than what you were told.
It happens all the time. Wow. So there are a lot of families that have the Native American mythology, and it can mean that it never existed, that it was a story that wasn't true, or it could mean that it's so far back in time that an autosomal DNA test isn't going to detect that Native American DNA. So in that case, you could take what's called a mitochondrial DNA test that goes much farther back in time, that if there is Native American ancestry there, it will detect it. It's a different kind of DNA that's being tested.
Okay.
Passed on from mother to child in a different way. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, I will have to suggest that. I don't know if she knows that. It's been a while since that whole incident. I felt really bad. So yeah. For a while, like I said, I've wanted to do it just to see if I was related to someone important.
It's likely that you are, especially with European ancestry. Many of us, well, at some point in every person's family tree, you are going to link into royalty. It's just a fact. You are. And in my own family tree, I'm the descendant, a direct descendant of many kings of Scotland, England, Germany, and France. How far back you go, and many, many people are. Mm-hmm. A lot of us are.
That would also be interesting to find out. So yeah, makes me more excited to do this. So, but I know there's a waiting period, right? I mean, this is not your 24, 48 hour result. I think it takes
about 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
For ancestry DNA. But if you're taking a mitochondrial test, which is different than all the main databases that take 4 to 6 weeks, it can take much longer. And if you're taking a Y DNA test, that is DNA that only men have, passed from father to son forever, that can take up to 6 months. My husband's Y DNA test took 6 months. And I'll tell you something about Y DNA tests. So my father-in-law was adopted, like I talked about earlier, and we found his biological mother and all of that family, and they are fantastic. It's like we've always known them. but we did not know who his biological father was. And so I had my husband take a Y-DNA test because my father-in-law was pretty elderly. And honestly, sometimes it's hard for them to spit, and that's what you have to do to take the test.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it was his father or my husband, because it's going to be the exact same DNA that's passed down, the Y-DNA. So what the results showed in my husband's Y-DNA test was all of these matches, and of course they're all men, and out of these 30 matches in this database, 28 of them had the same surname of Mead, which is an old English name. So we know that that biological father's family has that surname. So I know where to go hunting for with at least a surname. So that is what a Y-DNA test can do for you.
Interesting. How do you get one of those done?
Family Tree DNA offers the mitochondrial and Y-DNA tests. And I believe that they are still the only company that offers those. So it's FT-DNA or Family Tree DNA.
Okay. I did not know anything about those as well. That's good to know. Good to know. Daniel, my grandfather never discovered any royalty in our family line. Well,
just keep going back as far as you can. It's there somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you do when you, like you said, you 28 with the same, where do you go from there?
So with that Y-DNA test, I will now collaborate it with the autosomal DNA test, which is, Ancestry DNA or one of the databases. And I will start looking for that surname in the cousin matches, and then building a tree which leads to a person that could have been in the time and place where my father-in-law was conceived. So it's total detective work and a treasure hunt. And that's how you do it.
Yeah. And also time consuming.
Yeah. Sometimes it can take months and months. Sometimes it can take 2 hours. And that's a fact. So just depends.
Wow. It's amazing. It really is. Any other questions, folks? Spit them out. You have them. The problem is people usually will ask the questions after the show has already ended, because some people think that we're still live. So obviously, if there's any good questions regarding, what she does, I will forward them on DNA or anything like that. So is there a way for people to get in contact with you about your book or questions about, genealogy and stuff like that?
My website is wendywilsonspooner.com. That's my author site. And my genealogy site is knowmyroots.com.
Right.
You can find me either way, or on Facebook or wherever.
Author Wendy Wilson Spooner.
Yes.
I got it right this time. Yeah. So, and I will make sure that I post the links to both of those sites for people in case they have any questions or they would like to purchase the book, which we've already established. The book can be bought on Amazon, anywhere where books are sold. So Barnes and Nobles and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And of course on the website. Is it also available on Ambassador International? I've never been on their website.
Yeah.
As bad as that sounds, so I should go on there, but okay.
Yes, and right now it's available in paperback and ebook, and because of COVID-19, the audiobook has been delayed, but that should be completed in the near future.
Awesome. Yeah, I love digital.
You do? You love the ebooks?
Yeah. I do. But I've always wondered, because I have been reading That's what besides this, that's been my new pastime because of COVID. So I always ask every guest, have you found yourself doing something that you normally would not do because of COVID? For example, I'm reading. My family, puzzles. Binge watching something, that you just normally wouldn't. Anything?
Well, releasing a book in lockdown and having all of my book signings canceled.
Yeah.
And just doing my best to get the book out there through social media and every online resource. That is something new and different. I mean, having only that one avenue, I've learned so much about book marketing online, and it's actually become really valuable because I was forced into it. So,
yeah. I can relate. Kind of being forced into something, but it works.
Yeah.
It works. So yeah. So we're not binge watching anything. We're not building puzzles. We're not, nothing out of the ordinary.
I love puzzles. And there are shows I love to binge watch, and I'm actually a Bollywood movie freak because my work takes me to India from time to time.
Oh, okay.
I'm in love with that country, and Bollywood, they are the most incredible filmmakers. Some of their movies are so epic, I cannot believe my eyes. So if you want to watch some incredible Bollywood movies, start with Padmavat. That is a true story of the history of India. It was a Hindu king and a Muslim king that went to battle because the Hindu king had a famously beautiful wife, his queen, and the Muslim king decided that he wanted her. And this is the history of their battle over this most beautiful woman. And the scenery and the dancing is so epic. It is one of my most favorite movies I have ever seen.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So check out some Bollywood movies. You want to do something new.
I do on occasion. I don't really recall the name. I just find certain ones, and again, I believe I've rented them from Amazon Prime. So there's certain ones that I've watched. There was two actors that Kapoor, I believe was one, and then I don't know if she's still acting or not. And then I'm going to say their name wrong, and I don't want to. I follow them on Instagram. Is it Ashkay or something like that? Famous. I don't know. Did a lot of movies together. But anyways, yeah, I do. Only because in previous job, I had a manager, and her family was from India, and I absolutely love her. So she always told me, I'm your sister. I'm your sister. You're my brother.
I love that.
She's old enough to be my mother. But, no, it was great because that way I was introduced to Indian food.
Oh, yes.
Because they would make it for me all the time. So, and then on top of that, the husband opens a restaurant for Indian food, and I got it constantly. So, and then, she would talk about the different movies or, how to speak Indian, which I'll never be able to do, and just how beautiful it is. So, yeah, I do like the movies. They're colorful and exciting, especially with all the dancing, the music. And even though I have no idea what they're saying, I'm trying to read the subtitles down at the bottom of the screen, but I know what's going on. You can obviously see what's going on. So, yeah. There is my other sister. Hello, Heather. Yeah.
Are all your sisters on?
Not all of them, no. I'm missing two.
Heather and Kayla? Your sister.
Heather, Kayla, and Ashley. Are
Ashley.
my sisters. So
All right.
yeah, I do have an aunt that's watching. My grandmother's watching. But these are just you're seeing people who are commenting. There could be 100 people watching. If they don't comment, you won't obviously see them. So that's another downfall. It's nice to know. But so yeah, these are the usual suspects. My fans, my viewers that are on here. I have a couple more, but they're not used to the Tuesdays yet. So
Got it.
yeah.
Well, you're lucky you have so much family that
Absolutely.
supports you. That's really awesome.
Absolutely. Every show. So yeah. I'm definitely going to have you come back on when these other fantastic books come out, so that we can chit chat about them. I am going to do my test. I am going to let you know. We'll do a follow-up.
That might be a show in itself.
Yeah. I believe that would be very interesting. So I'm definitely going to reach out to you and let you know when I'm going to do that. I don't think it would be fun doing it alone. So, and someone who, is an expert in this stuff. So yeah, it'd be nice if I have any questions and stuff like that. So, does your website for the DNA, the genetic stuff, have any information on where people can do this stuff? Like, what do you expect? Where you can go? Like,
Yes.
Ancestry.com, like
yes.
all that stuff. Okay. So yeah. So if anyone's interested in doing it, they can at least go to your website and find out some information.
Yes.
Perfect. And then I will make sure to post both links to not only the book, but also the other website as well. So everyone has it. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Hello, Burton, my new brother-in-law. Welcome. That was not expecting you. Let's see, Daniel, I'm also part Okinawan. Oh, but only because they have adopted me into their culture. I am pro Okinawan dancer and a musician in ancient and modern techniques.
What? That's amazing.
He is a jack of all trades. He has many hats, this author, and I'm very fortunate to have met him. I've known him, I think, since I've started this whole podcast journey. He has been on my show multiple times. He has been a host on my show when I have needed him. He does his own video every Monday and Friday to talk. He reads chapters from his books. He answers questions about writing, and other stuff. So you're an author, you have a book out. I should ask, what do you tell people, or if you get this question, I'm pretty sure you do. What do you tell a new writer that wants to write? Any words of advice?
Sure. So first of all, figure out who you want to write to. Are you writing to the general masses? Are you writing to women? Are you writing to teenagers? Are you reading kids' books? So decide who your target market is, who you're writing to, and then learn how to write to them. And it is different for every genre, and it's a learning curve, but it's fantastically fun. So start with that. Learn how to write to the specific age group and gender that you're writing to.
There you go. I love it. That's good advice. All right. Well, if there are no more questions, then that's it. Only because we've gone over, which is fine. If you have any other questions for Wendy after the show, I will make sure that she gets them. But I will, like I said, post those two sites so everyone can go on. I will make sure to post a link for the book for Amazon and other places as well. It has been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Wendy.
You too, Brian.
Yeah, I thank you for coming on. And like I said, we will be talking soon. So thank you for that.
I'm excited to hear how your journey starts and ends. It's going to be cool.
Absolutely. All right, everyone, that is it. Don't forget, we have a show on Thursday. So another fantastic author. And I will see everyone Thursday at 8 o'clock. Goodbye.